Welcome. My name is Joti Balani. I am the founder and managing director of FreshRiver.ai. We are a conversational AI and data science consultancy. We do strategy and delivery work for the Fortune 100. I'm joined today by Ken Sutton, the co-founder, CEO, and president of Yobe. Welcome, Ken.
Thanks for having me.
How are you enjoying the show?
It's been great. Actually, I didn't anticipate as many people showing up, and so it's great to have, conferences coming back.
Yes.
And for us, it's a great lead up getting ready for CES. So we like the temperature and the lead on to that larger event.
It's a warm up, and it was. People were quite nervous, right, about whether to come back, but I think we're seeing the right signs here.
Yeah, definitely.
It's amazing. So tell me, what problem has Yobe set out to solve?
Well, like most companies, we pivoted into our problem, right? We started off in a problem, trying to solve a problem around autism, believe it or not, and frequency response and how people with autism hear frequencies and perceptually if that was enjoyable or not, and kind of fell into voice as the market started getting mature.
Sure,
Alexa made a marketplace, and some of those core, the core patents that we had were really applicable for what was happening in voice. And along the way, my co-founder and I stumbled into this interesting way to use our AI to really extract biological, linguistic, and acoustic markers from voice. So unlike your traditional, what you would call noise cancellation type methodology, that is a byproduct of what we do, but our real essence is, can we pull out all the markers machines need to understand what humans are saying, right? And doing it in a way that is computationally efficient. So we are, we're edge-based, we work on cell phones, we are device and microphone agnostic to a certain degree. So we solve the problem of helping specifically for, let's say, this industry in this conference, conversational AI platforms getting pure, clean data in which to transcribe that from speech to text, and then of course respond from text to speech. And so we manage the garbage in, garbage out problem that you have in acoustic environments similar to what we're in here.
Right.
And we do it in a unique way of also identifying who's talking. So we also give you the precursor of, okay, that's Ken having this conversation. And then what you do with that on the back end is up to you.
Sure.
But that's kind of where we landed in the voice spectrum.
So you're telling me our conversation and interview today could actually go through Yobe. It could take out all the background noise, but in over and above that, it could extract out biologically the sentiment of our the conversation we're having and provide those markers. Is that correct?
Not the sentiment. That's somebody else's work. That's more of a neural net and a lot of computational lift. But what we can do on the edge is verify it's Ken talking.
Oh, so you're matching because we have a DNA, right?
100%. So we're using the voice biometrics to identify it's Ken. But to your core point, that's really challenging in noisy environments. Can I see your markers over the noise environment? So yes, if we had time for a demo, I would do a demo. But yes, in this environment, we can extract the voice in a way that is usable for biometrics, health markers, text to speech, speech to text rather, and all those other things you want to use voice for. And we do it in a way that is computationally efficient.
This reminds me of a conversation I was having with a team at GE who were describing to us that some of their field operators that are operating the heavy machinery to have a voice-enabled system, but the problem is it's a very noisy environment. That would be phenomenal, right, to sort of clean that up and have them hands-free, right? The outcomes of the work that they do would definitely be improved.
Well, we see a lot of that in enterprise, where people, there's obviously consumer applications for what we do, but in enterprise, to your point, there's tons of environments where you should be using your hands for the job. Simply the car. Let's take an environment where voice is not really that great, right? It's a single place that you shouldn't be doing anything else with your hands but driving, right? And so we did a lot of work with, I'll be careful, 3-letter agencies in the area. Around surveillance and being able to basically, get voice data from very challenging, noisy environments from an operational standpoint. And we've applied a lot of those tools to what we're doing in the consumer space.
So you mentioned, after the data goes in, people got to figure out what to do with it. So privacy and security, right? Do you sort of leave that to your clients?
Well, we don't store anything. We're not machine learning. We're not taking the data and we're not crunching it and using it. So we're passing off the actual signal. It's not, of course, we can say, yes, it's Ken, and we can give you a confidence score if this is Ken or not. But the real value is, can you extract whatever you want from the data from the voice for your platform? And so for us, we don't really get involved in the security issues upstream because we're not storing it. We're not doing anything with that data. In the surveillance, in the 3-letter agency world, they have their own protocols on how they handle security because they are sometimes marking you and saying, okay, suspect one is talking, and we're going to track that. But for our consumer use, we don't have any, we don't compile it, and that's our way of saying, we are very sensitive to the voice data. And so we don't store it, we don't use it. We just see it, give an evaluation, and pass that stream on to our partners behind us.
So the IP for what you do, so I think I was also reading on your website, you don't need an internet connection, right?
No.
Because it's sitting right at the edge. Are you concerned that folks can reverse engineer and do you worry about your IP?
Well, I mean, our IP, and that's a great question, and most people don't ask that. So it's a strategy, right? Your IP protection is a strategy. For us, we have a strategy. We have some of our IP or what we do, which is very public, and it's the 3 patents that we have. But then there's some signal processing and AI know-how, which is trade secret. How do you get 2 different mathematical equations, AI and signal processing, to work together and cooperate? It's 100% trade secret. So you could read our patents, you could try to duplicate that, and that would be fine. But without the trade secret of how we're getting those 2 different modules to work together, it doesn't work.
It's hard to
and that was by design, and why we didn't patent the trade secret.
Gotcha. What do the next 6 to 12 months look like? And I know there's a lot of stuff you may not be, but whatever you can share, what are you seeing coming up?
Yeah, I mean, for us, back to the event situation, we went to CES last year, and we found it to be phenomenal. Part of it is because we do our demos on the CES floor, which is not what most people do in voice. You don't try to put your stuff on display with that many kind of, hurdles to success. So we're getting ready for CES. We're putting up a demo where we're going to do a lot of our stuff on cell phones. We're going to let people come by the booth and actually not just see the cleanup in real time and see the improved speech to text, but also kind of biomarkedly track you and give a confidence score and show it in real world environments. One of the challenges that we had as a startup, as a lot of voice companies do, is that we end up being a component in larger larger platform systems. And we're kind of going up the value chain a little bit and saying, okay, let's come up with a product or something that's a module that a customer or a client or an enterprise customer can say, I don't have to have 3 or 4 partners in this. If I take this Yobe module, I can plug it in here, and it opens up tons of functionality for my platform that I didn't have prior to that. So for us, the next 6 months is really around really focusing on that effort and making sure that we can take the ability to empower some of these other modalities and use them in a noisy environment like this and have them be extremely effective.
Yeah, we see this challenge too, right, is helping clients think through the art of the possible. And doing shows like CES, doing shows like this, first creates the awareness that something like this exists. But then it's all about, what problem needs solving. And I always say, these kind of technologies should be, in the hands of responsible humans, because there's a lot of dark stuff you can do. I tell my clients, you don't want to end up in the AI Hall of Shame, no matter what you do, right?
Exactly.
So in the last 2 minutes, partnerships. Where are you seeing, sort of from a go-to-market standpoint, or even helping people see the art of the possible? Are there partnerships that you guys are exploring? You already have. What's your thought on that? Yeah,
I mean, because we are kind of still a component. There are a lot of partnerships that we can't speak about because it's part of someone else's offering. And a lot of them are household names, so that we'd be sensitive to that. What I will say is what we are seeing, just as a trend, is we're getting a lot more partnerships with enterprise customers who are really starting to be very bullish around how can we add value to our workers in the enterprise environment in a way that we're not doing with other voice platforms. And they still have the same complexity. To your point, the GE conversation is fantastic, right? Around on the workplace, but just in office environments as well. Or if you start looking at the remote workforce now, we're all on conference calls with the dogs barking, the kids screaming in the background. It's just a normal course of action nowadays. And so how do we handle those impulsive environments? How do we handle environments in the car? So we're seeing enterprise taking a deeper look at how can we create a more effective workforce and create more efficiencies. It's talking with a colleague from Amazon about the early days of Alexa, and the most used query for Alexa was, what time is it? And I thought that was really intriguing, that I'm going to ask a question that I can answer quickly myself. So why is it the most prolific kind of use case? It's because it allows me to multitask, which is where we see enterprise saying this voice modality has an ability for us to keep you in your workflow, have you multitask and do something else totally off platform, get an answer to something, and stay in the flow of your workforce. So we're seeing a lot of that activity happening. As well, consumer stuff is still moving at the same clip. But we're seeing that conversational AI platform, some of those applications are very focused on what's happening in the enterprise space.
What about the accuracy? Is the accuracy improving? Like based on where you started?
Yeah.
Right, from the recognition
Yeah.
standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, for us, we love what the natural language models have been doing, right? And you're in the high 90 percentiles. So a lot of the issues aren't the models. It's the fact you're getting garbage in, garbage out.
Right?
And that's our whole bane of existence.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
we're going to basically allow you not, as our partners,
Yeah.
you shouldn't be penalized for the lack of processing that was done to the audio before it gets to your algorithms.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, accuracy's gotten better. I think what I like, we're talking a lot of companies that are looking at bringing into your point sentiment and emotions.
Right.
Those are all fantastic things, and it adds to the more human modality of conversational AI.
Sure.
But if you can't get those markers that you need to track what, emotion is being basically shown during that speech, it's difficult. And so we live on the front end. We live at the, with the spear, the tip of the spear, if you would.
Yeah.
And so in that situation, we're trying to add value to the accuracy by dealing with the acoustic anomalies that you deal with in everyday
Yeah,
environments.
because if that doesn't work, everything at the end of the system doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter at all.
Final question, languages.
We are language agnostic. We're looking at the linguistic and biological markers in the voice, not
right,
the
so it
language.
doesn't
We're not doing any
matter.
modeling. There's no training whatsoever. This is all kind of inferential AI on the edge that's just figuring it out as it goes, as it looks at certain DNA traits of the voice that it's basically trying to track. So, yeah, we're agnostic to those languages.
Ken,
Yeah.
thank you so much. We'll be definitely keeping an eye on Yobe. This is amazing work. Thank
Great.
you for your time.
Thanks
and
for having
channels
me.
back.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Thank you, everyone.